Is up, my ninjas? Strident here, and I have in my hand my SH Figuarts Faiz Blaster form, Kamen Rider Faiz. For those of you who don't know who Faiz is, and I have a lot to say. It's a really cool figure. I was kind of impressed at how cost effective everything was done. I mean, packaging is really small and really concise, not like our big blister cards that are humongous. He comes with a ton of little accessories, and it's a decent figure in terms of that. But the first thing that I noticed is the figure is made of like the cheapest kind of weak plastic that I've ever owned on a figure. His feet are die cast metal, which is cool, because then that allows him to stand properly because all the weight is on his feet. But like the overall plastic that was used for the figure just seems like one punch from a DC Universe like Bizarro or DC Universe, even Superman, and this toy would shatter. So clearly this is not a toy that you play with in the same way that you would play with the more durable American figures. But with that aside, I can I'm appreciating so much of what Faiz was packaged with. He actually is like close in scale. He fits in scale with your 8-inch figures. He's probably like 5 inches tall, something like that, 5 or 6 inches tall. He's pretty short, which is cool to me because that means when I get Autovagin, which should be in the mail and should be on its way sometime soon, I could probably put him on that bike. If it is indeed the version of Autovagin that I think it is. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys the pictures and then I'm going to get to the review. First off, the sculpting is freaking, it's amazing. It's real simple in comparison to like, American action figures, but I mean, it captures the spirit of the figure or of the character exactly how he appears in the movies and the shows. The articulation is awesome because there's a lot of ball joints and a few swivels and more ball socket joints, so you get these subtle shifts of weight, a nice contrapposto pose. This is my illustrator speak popping up. Even his shoulders are on ball socket joints. It kind of puts Marvel Legends and DC Universe Classics to shame as far as posability goes. Still, the cheap plastic, lightweight cheap plastic is not cool, but whatever. I guess you can give it a pass for the sheer amount of posability. There's this trademark Yakuza style rider kick charge up. As soon as you take the figure out of the package, you notice that the joints move in a very naturalistic way. So it's not like the Marvel Legends where it was fairly restrictive because everything was a hinge except for I think the head and the rocker joints on the feet. This is like everything's a ball socket joint, so it's easy to get the poses you want. Everything on his belt is removable. And then there's like multiple versions because in the show he's got several different pieces, and I'll go through them with you. So you can see on his belt he's got the Faiz pointer, the Faiz shot, and the phone, I guess. I don't know what that thing's called. All those pieces can be removed, and actually on the belt there's multiple conversions for the phone. As you can see, he's googling at all the crap he has, or oogling. There's also the console, which is closest to him in the back. It's crazy. You can see closest to us on the right hand side there's several different versions of the phone and the belt. So there's the phone just in phone mode, and you see on his belt there's nothing there because they give you an open empty belt. or like a clip spot for the belt. And it's pretty cool. I mean, there's crazy detail on every piece too. So then here you can see the phone, you can see the opening on his belt where the phone will go when it's closed. It's crazy that they did this because the figure is so small that it's kind of like, wow, for real. I love it. I'm amazed. There it is, closed and connected to the belt, which, I mean, that's the version that you see the most in the show, because typically when he's in this form, either the phone is closed or it's connected to the console mode. There's his like backpack. There's four separate pieces technically. On the left and right of the circle, there's or the circular piece with the like battery in the center. There are those two pieces that are down, and then there's the two versions that are up. It looked like mine came with two left-handed or left-sided things. So, I mean, whatever. They pop up in the show to turn into guns, and the articulation is limited. They turn into guns, and they also turn into like jets, like booster jets, so that you can fly around and do cool stuff like that. It's a nice addition because, once again, the figure, it doesn't have to have all that, but they gave it to you anyway. The console is awesome. As you can see, there's the buttons with enter and everything, and console is awesome because it has all its extra functions on it. You also can take the phone when in one of the modes, and I'll show you. See, there's the phone by itself. When you convert the console mode to blaster mode, just like in the show, you can lock the phone on the gun, which is crazy. Blaster mode actually operates exactly like it did in the show. And I know some people complained about the lack of the lack of show to figure accuracy, but I mean, it's just amazing that they even put these details in there. The blaster is awesome. I mean, it looks exactly like it did in the show. It's the right weight. My gripe is that he only has one hand for holding things, and it sucks that the gun, the console is heavy for that hand, and typically it falls out a lot. So a lot of these poses I hope you appreciate, because it took me a long time to get this stuff situated so that the weapon wouldn't fall out of his hand. But it's just crazy that on a figure so small, they were able to put all those details in there so that it feels show accurate. Props to Bandai and Tamashi for that, because that's ridiculous. It's a really good job. It's better than a lot of the American toys we get. This is probably like the biggest selling point for me, the fact that he comes with so much gear, and then it's pretty much show accurate. I do wish that they used a stronger plastic for his hands so that he could actually hold his weapons better, but I mean, it does the job. This is more of a display piece. Anyway, here we're going to show you another mode for the Faiz Blaster. He's going to put in his little activation codes and hit enter, and then you have the sword mode. Just the poses, man. I'm geeking out looking at the poses. I had fun doing that. I'm posing them right now while I'm doing this review. The sword is awesome. It's actually lighter than it looks because a piece of the blaster is removed so that you can put the blade piece on top of it. So you see him using his the jets and everything to help propel him to go where he needs to go, to cut through whatever he's got to cut through. Anyway, you can, for whatever reason, I didn't have much trouble posing him with this. Like I said, the sword is lighter. It's really cool that even though the blaster mode is used only a few times between the series and the movie, that they were able to recapture so much of it. Like, I've yet to see the sword, the full sword, the Buster Sword mode. That's what I call it. I don't know what it's called because I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen it yet in the show. I'm actually watching the show right now, like all the way through. I'm watching it right now. But you see how ridiculously huge that sword is. It makes the weapon a little bit heavier because you've got 3 times the amount of stuff attached to it. But I mean, you can't deny how badass that looks. And you know, it's just whatever you're gonna hit with that is going down. I was impressed at the size of it because in the package it doesn't really look automatically like it's gonna be that huge, but the fact that the light blade part fits around the actual blade, it's awesome. I was comparing it to other swords like Cloud's Buster Sword, and it's about the same length, even though the Cloud figure is like 10 inches tall, and this figure is, you know, a little over, what, 5 or 6? So it's crazy. So, and anyway, there's me goofing off with my imaging skills. He's powering up, getting ready to use his blade on somebody. I just dig the fact that it looks like an effect that would be in the show. They managed to recreate so much faithfully in such a good way that it just, I don't know, you can't help but be geeked when you you know, have this figure. So here's me showing, here's a little demonstration of how long this damn thing is. It's pretty damn long. So he's charging up, getting ready to attack. And it was weird too, because the more I played around with it, the more I found ways to position his body so that the weight was shifted in the right places. And that's the cool thing about this, because of the naturalistic joints and articulation in general, it's not hard to pose him. It's extremely easy to pose him. You know, when you play with some of your Marvel Legends or some of your DC Universe Classics or even the Masters of the Universe Classics, actually they're pretty hard to pose. You try to make them get into these, you know, poses that show agility, and it's difficult. But this is not hard at all. He's light. It actually, the difficult part is trying not to break the figure while doing all these poses. But there he is finishing off Omega Red. And then someone else is going to try to challenge him. And he's going to do his famous rider kick. You see him taking off or going to the rider, or the Faiz pointer. He's going to take that off and attach it to his boot. And see, and it was cool because it wasn't that difficult to get these poses off. So there he is. There's actually 2 pointers. There's a small one that stays on the belt that's short enough that it doesn't, it's almost like it's retracted. And then there's an opened, you know, longer pointer that you can take off and attach to his boot there. And it's crazy. It works almost exactly like on the show, which is crazy because, I mean, like I said earlier, you don't have to get all this stuff because a lot of, you know, companies don't do it. They give you just the basics, but they did. There it is, locked in place. He's sending the Exceed charge through the leg and straight to the pointer. And then you know, it's funny because the villain's always just sitting there like, rrr. But he's gonna get airborne. And I mean, yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I really, honestly, despite being so impressed, I don't see why the price tag was so high, because this was a $34 figure. It came to like 40 something with shipping, but it came in like 4 days, which was crazy. So there he is, more even further airborne, and he's about to perform his patented rider kick. I put a little Bruce Lee flair to it because it just looks cooler that way. But you pretty much, there aren't too many poses that you can't get this figure into. I sat there before I took any of these pictures. I just sat there screwing around with his poses, and he's about as posable as the superposable Spider-Man from both movies, the first and the second movie. But he's better engineered that he doesn't just fall over when you put him in poses because the joints get slack, because these are ball socket joints with like a rubber interior, so when the rubber rubs against the plastic you still get some of that tightness, whereas on the Spider-Man figure it's all hinges, they just get slack because that's what they do. But there is against Iron Fist using the Faiz shot, and I dig that. At first I didn't understand what that was when I first saw the series. I'm like, he put a CD player on his hand, like what the hell? But anyway, Iron Fist thinks he's got this in the bag, but you know, Iron Fist has always been a lame character to me, and I think there are far better characters, and Faiz is one of them. And as Iron Fist is about to learn, sometimes technology beats out magic, and in this case you just got throttled, son. But it just was tons of fun to pose this dude. I'm obviously not done. The possibilities for posability are just crazy. You can pretty much, like I said before, you can do just about anything that you've seen him do in the show or in the movies. I'm trying to figure out throughout the figure what is die cast and what is just plastic. So far, the only thing I can figure that is die cast is his feet, which is really cool because, like I said earlier, the weight is all on his feet, which means when you stand him in a pose, his balance is better. So doing one-legged poses and things like that, they come off a lot easier. And he's got these like strange, like they're almost like rocker joints, but they don't rock easily. So if you balance him, he maintains the pose with no problem. All in all, like I said, this is an awesome figure. The price tag is a little steep. I think that the plastic could have been a more durable plastic instead of this like modeling grade plastic. It feels like the same plastic that comes in model kits, which I'm not a fan of, because a lot of times you build the model and then it breaks, or in the process of getting things to fit you break it and you gotta glue pieces, and I'm not all about that. But if you can find him for maybe 20 something bucks, 25 bucks or less, or maybe even if you can find him for 30 bucks, it's not a bad price to pay for such a well crafted figure. Here's a size comparison. You can clearly see he is on the small side. At first I was afraid that he was going to be the size of a G.I. Joe, but thankfully he's bigger. Now I'm curious to see if he's bigger than the SIC figures, or how much bigger he is. And there are my other Japanese heroes teaming up with Faiz. So all in all, that is the figure. I hope you dug it. And stay tuned for the SIC standard Faiz. Peace, people.